Hey, that's Yoshi.
Huh?
Right there. See it?
Where?
Right in front of you?
This doll?
That's Yoshi. Don't tell me you've never heard of him.
Oh, okay. But what's this thing doing here?
Yoshi. He's called Yoshi.
Right, so what's this doing here?
He must be getting popular in the Soviet Union.
Here?
Not that you'd know anything about the magic of Yoshi. On the other hand, you might be able to use Yoshi's power to help you in your mission.
What did you have in mind?
Yoshi makes noise when you shake him. If the enemy hears that, they might come to check it out. Maybe you could use it as a diversion. And I hear that if you find all of the Yoshis and shake them, something good will happen. Try it out.
Photo Camouflage, huh? With that uniform, you can create new camo patterns from photos saved on your SD memory card. Your camo index will vary depending on what photos you use for the pattern, so try experimenting.
Move the right circle pad in a direction during overhead view to look in that direction. Move the right circle pad to the left to see what's nearby on screen left. Move right for screen right, up to see what's further ahead, and down to see what's nearby. For example, if you're heading north, you should press up to observe things in the direction of movement. Then, if you later spot an enemy patrol to the east, shift the camera to the right so you can hide while observing the threat. Use of this technique can be greatly advantageous to your mission. Make sure to get the most of it.
Hey, Snake, have you seen Horror of Dracula?
No. Vampires are...
After Jonathan Harker visits his ancient castle in Transylvania, Dracula sets out for London. His target is Harker's fiancée, Mina, but Dr. Van Helsing is out to stop him. Eventually, the evil count and the good doctor face off in a final battle. It was amazing to watch the two actors who play them, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, bring the battle to life with their performances. The night after I saw it, I had nightmares about those lips dripping with red blood.
What'd you expect? Of course Dracula's gonna give you nightmares.
Snake, you're not afraid of vampires.
Wasn't Dracula played by Bela Lugosi?
Huh? No, that was just plain Dracula, the old black and white version. It's based on the same original work, but they're different movies. I saw it on TV once. Horror of Dracula is in color, and it's more thrilling and fast-paced.
I guess people's tastes change with the times.
It'd be nice if your taste for Dracula changed with the times, too.
I'm not afraid of him.
Sure. Snake, have you seen the Brides of Dracula?
No, I'm not really into...
It's the sequel to Horror of Dracula, the one I was telling you about before. Dr. Van Helsing has to defeat the brides of the vampire Baron Meinster. I was disappointed that Dracula wasn't in it, but Van Helsing was even better than in the last one, and the plot was interesting, too.
It must have been tough for Van Helsing without his arch-nemesis around.
Why? Isn't that a good thing?
I wouldn't say that.
Hey, Snake, ever seen Gunfight at the OK Corral?
No, I haven't.
It's a color western about a showdown between Wyatt Earp and the Clantons in Tombstone. I was touched by the friendship between Wyatt Earp, the lawman, and Doc Holliday, the man whose life he saved.
Was it an American that Wyatt Earp had? I thought it might have been a peacemaker.
What are you talking about?
Nothing, I was just thinking about the single-action army, Ocelot.
Snake, he's not Kirk Douglas.
I know that.
Ocelot might be a crack shot, but even he can't hit what he can't see. Use a smoke grenade or a stun grenade to put him in the dark.
It must be pretty dark in there. Eva gave you some night vision goggles, didn't she? Try equipping them. They should give you a good visual range even in the dark.
Go north and you'll emerge from the cave into the aqueduct. But stay alert. The patrols around that area heard the pane explode, and they're already headed your way. Keep your guard up.
Those flying platforms use jet engines to fly, right? You'll get injured if you touch the flames, and serious burns are almost a definite. Don't get too close.
Snake, that area is supposed to be crawling with venomous snakes and spiders. Be careful you don't get bitten. If you do get bitten, go to Cure in the survival viewer right away and inject yourself with serum. The rabbits in that area seem to have antibodies that protect them from poison. If you run out of serum, you can get more by catching a rabbit.
Even if he is photosynthetic, the End will have to start looking for food if the battle drags on too long. When he does, you might be able to set a trap for him using the food you've got.
Look at the ceiling. There's a gas pipe. If you shoot that gas pipe, it'll start spewing out flames. Now that the Fury's flameproof suit is torn up, he ought to feel it. Give it a shot.
Major, I saw an important-looking number.
What could it be, I wonder? Sigint, do you have any ideas?
Nope, I'm fresh out.
I see. Anyhow, make a note of it. It may prove useful later on.
Right.
Volgin also uses a technique where he tosses bullets up in the air, ignites them with an electric shock, and causes them to shoot in all directions. This is a legendary technique that made his rampant anger renowned during World War II. The only way to dodge it is to get behind him. You can use stun grenades and smoke grenades to make it harder for the enemy to see. That should help shake him off you. Use them if you got them. If you can't figure out where the C3 bombs are planted, try using the thermal goggles. That should tell you exactly where the bombs are. It looks like the Shagohod uses that periscope up top for visual guidance. If you attack the area around the periscope or throw a smoke grenade at it, Volgin won't be able to see where he's going. Give it a try. The Shagohod seems to be equipped with a smoke discharger. If he puts up a smoke screen, make sure you don't shoot Eva by mistake. The Shagohod seems to move kind of funny sometimes. They must not have had time to work out all the snags. That's a good thing for us. Watch for those openings and use them to attack.
Snake, the flying platforms shooting at you from above are a major threat. You'd best find someplace to hide until they go away. Snake, if you get rid of that log, you can stop the enemies in their tracks. Use a grenade or TNT to destroy the log.
They weren't the direct subject of any serious research, but some think they may have become violent as a side effect of the atomic research that was conducted nearby.
From the radiation.
Yeah, it's just like Godzilla, king of the monsters.
God, what?
Godzilla, king of the monsters? The movie where the 2-million-year-old monster is mutated as a result of hydrogen bomb testing and comes to destroy Tokyo? You don't know Godzilla? It's famous.
Radioactive and pissed off.
Something wrong?
No, nothing.
It's about this scientist who's conducting teleportation experiments when he gets mixed up with a fly and ends up with the fly's head attached to his body.
Never heard of it.
That's too bad. It's a good movie.
You sure do know a lot about movies.
Yeah, I'm kind of a film buff.
In any event, it's a good thing for you that they didn't take your medical items. First, get those injuries treated. After that, you can think about escaping. The backpack is on the branch pointing east on that tree, right? Walk along the branch and get it. Just be careful not to lose your balance and fall. Pay close attention to the balance indicator on the top screen and keep your Nintendo 3DS system level to avoid falling. A rope bridge, huh? You'll stick out like a sore thumb if you walk on top of it. To cross it without being seen, you'll have to do something about the enemies. Also, you better watch your balance while walking on that thing, or you could slide off. Pay close attention to the balance indicator on the top screen and keep your Nintendo 3DS system level to avoid falling. Snake, look at that tree. See how the branches extend out to the other side of the barbed wire? I'll bet you could climb the tree, move from branch to branch, and drop down on the other side. Just be sure to watch your balance while walking on those branches. Pay attention to the balance indicator on the top screen and keep your Nintendo 3DS system level to avoid falling.
This is a gun with history. You can do all sorts of tricks with it. Why don't you go into FPS mode and practice by moving your Nintendo 3DS system around?
To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. The weapons you're currently holding will be displayed on the touchscreen. Choose the weapon you want to swap out, then press the Enter button. Next, you'll see a list of all the available weapons in your possession. Select the weapon you want to use and press the Enter button to take it out of your pack. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right.
To place a weapon on your person, select Weapon under the Backpack section of the survival viewer. See the touchscreen? That shows a list of all the weapons you're holding. Select the weapon you want to swap out and press the Enter button. Now you'll see a list of all the weapons you've got. Choose the weapon you want to carry from the list and press the Enter button to take it out of your backpack. Just remember that there's a limit to the number of weapons you can carry at the same time, so put back any stuff you don't need. To put a weapon on your person back into your backpack, press the Remove icon on the bottom left of the touchscreen, or choose a weapon that's already on you from the weapon list and press the Enter button. Do whatever works best.
To place a weapon on your person, go to the Survival Viewer, then Backpack, then select Weapon. The weapons currently on your person will be shown on the touchscreen. Select the weapon you want to swap out, then press the Enter button. Next, you'll see all of the weapons at your disposal. Select the one you want to use and press the Enter button to remove the weapon from your backpack and equip it to your person. However, you can only carry so many weapons at once on your person. Put unnecessary weapons back into your backpack. To return a weapon to your backpack, select a weapon from the list of weapons on your person and press the Enter button. Then, when presented with the list of all your weapons, select the exact same weapon from that list and press the Enter button once again. To put unneeded weapons into your backpack, touch the Remove icon at the bottom left of the touchscreen, then select the weapon to stow and press the Enter button.
In most areas outdoors, you'll make a noise if you push the circle pad with large movements in a given direction. This is true even if you're crouching or crawling. This could alert nearby enemies to your presence. If you need to sneak up behind an enemy, use slight movements of the circle pad to utilize stalking.
But all you need to do is push the circle pad slightly in the direction you wish to move. When stalking, you can move without creating sound with your footsteps. And since your posture is low while stalking, you are that much less likely to be spotted by the enemy. Since you move cautiously while stalking, you will be able to detect a trap on the ground before it is set off. However, the slow, concentrated movement while stalking. Vary your use of the circle pad to switch between stalking, walking, or running depending on the situation.
The degree to which you move the circle pad not only changes your walking speed, but changes your speed when crawling and for intrusion movement. With large movements of the circle pad, you can move faster, but you'll make noise and give yourself away to nearby enemies. With slight movements of the circle pad, you can move in silence. It sacrifices speed, but it's the best choice for the times when creating noise presents significant risk. To open doors, generally you can just use the circle pad to move towards the door. This way, you use your body to push the door open. To open a door without creating any noise, move the circle pad slightly. So, when you're concerned about alerting enemies on the inside of a room of your presence, open the door slowly and slip right in. If you use large motions of the circle pad and run towards a door, you'll burst through it. The sound of the door opening will surely be heard by your enemies, but it allows for a fast entrance. When you want to jump right in and take care of business, running is the way to do it. Snake, I don't recommend running around wildly. You need to determine when it's best to run and when it's best just to walk. Move the circle pad slightly to walk. You won't move very fast, but it consumes little stamina, and enemies are less likely to detect you. When you are near enemies or when you need to conserve stamina, those are good times to walk. Snake, let's review how to change your stance between standing, crouching, and crawling. When standing, press the crouch button briefly to crouch, and press and hold to take a crawling position. Since by crouching you take a lower position, it has a higher camo index than standing, and the added stability of crouching lessens the effect of gun recoil. If you try shooting while crouching, you'll notice your shots will bunch together more consistently than when standing. Tap the crouch button while crouching to stand up, and move the circle pad to crouch walk in a direction. Next, crawling. Remember that when crawling, your camo index becomes extremely high, and your firing of guns becomes even more stable than while crouching. You can move the circle pad while on your stomach to crawl in a particular direction. When you are crawling, use small movements of the circle pad to crawl silently at the expense of speed. However, be warned that crawling consumes more stamina than simply walking. Press and hold the crouch button while in crawl position to stand up. Press the crouch button briefly to switch to crouch position. Don't forget, if you want to stand up quickly from a crawling position, press and hold the crouch button. If you tilt the circle pad slightly and move around by slowly stalking, you should be able to spot traps before you step on them. Use stalking to move safely through suspicious-looking areas. If you lie down and crawl, you can wedge yourself into the crevice. To lie down and crawl from a standing position, press and hold the crouch button. When you want to stand back up, press and hold the crouch button again. When you're out in nature, you'll find lots of places that you can crawl inside. You can use those places to hide from enemies. You'd be a fool not to take advantage of those hiding places. So always look around and survey your surroundings.
Treetops, bushes, hollow logs, there are plenty of places in nature you can use to hide yourself. Search each area carefully. Use nature to its fullest extent. You'll thank me later.
If you crawl into the grass, you can advance under cover. When you do, the camera automatically switches to Intrusion View. If you want to stand up again, press and hold the crouch button once more. If you press the crouch button briefly, you'll crouch in that spot. This allows you to observe things without blowing your cover. Even when hidden in grass, if you make a noise, your enemies will locate you. When enemies are nearby, move with slight movements of the circle pad. That way, you can proceed with minimal disturbance. When you creep inside a small space, the overhead view switches to the Intrusion View. The camera controls during the Intrusion View are a bit different from normal. Use up on the circle pad to advance, down to go backwards, and left and right to rotate. Hold the aim button while moving to strafe. With large movements of the circle pad, you move faster but create sound. Nearby enemies might notice you. With slight movements of the circle pad, you can move without making a sound, but at the expense of speed. Use both types of movement in appropriate situations.
To eat food, press the Start button to enter the Survival Viewer, then select Food. Choose the food you want to consume and press the Enter button to eat it.
You can equip food as a weapon, then hold the Aim button and press the Attack button to throw the food. If you throw a live animal near an enemy, you may be able to distract him. If an enemy is really hungry, he may pounce at the prospect of food. You have minimal gear on this mission and have to make the most use out of anything you can procure on the ground.
You can capture animals alive by using the tranquilizer gun or a mousetrap. When you capture a live animal, you can carry it on you as a weapon by going to Backpack in the Survival Viewer. Once an animal is on your person, equip it, hold the Aim button, and press the Attack button to throw it. Throwing a venomous animal at an enemy might be enough to knock him out. Even non-venomous animals like frogs can be used to distract the enemy's attention. And since I know you're going to ask me, yes, keeping animals alive prevents them from rotting and makes them taste better when you eat them. Remember, though, you've only got 3 cages for capturing live animals. First, open the Survival Viewer with the Start button. If you select Cure, you can start the treatment. Healing is divided into treatment using medicine and surgical treatment. Your injuries include a fractured left elbow and rib bone, and lacerations on your upper arms, right elbow, and abdomen. They need to be fixed using surgical treatment. First, select the affected part of your body by using the touchscreen. Once you've done so, a list of medical items will be displayed. Choose the item you want to use, then press the Enter button. With this method, you can use items to help your recovery process. To treat a bone fracture, first secure the affected area with a fastener, then wrap it in bandages. That should do it. For lacerations, you'll need disinfectant to clean the wound, sutures to stitch it up, styptic to slow the flow of blood, and bandages to wrap the wound. If you do everything I mentioned, the wound should heal completely. To treat an injury, first press the Start button to open the Survival Viewer, then select Cure to start the treatment. Healing is divided into medicinal treatment and surgical treatment. Treatment with medicine involves administering oral remedies and serum injections. You'll use this treatment method when you have food poisoning or when you've been bitten by a venomous animal. Surgical treatment involves applying surgical techniques to injured areas. You'll use this method to take care of burns and gunshot wounds. As long as you do everything you're supposed to do, your injury should heal completely. Be sure to follow the proper procedures.
Snake, when you stand up against a tree or put your back against the wall near a corner, the camera lowers and gives you a view of behind. This is the corner view. This allows you to keep track of what's occurring behind you when hiding in protected areas. While hiding, you can use the circle pad to peek out to the left or right. Learning how to take advantage of the corner view is the first step towards mission success. Use it to your utmost advantage. In the corner view, use the circle pad to stick yourself out from a protected area and look over your shoulder. We'll call this action peeking. Peeking is effective for observation since it gives you a wider range of vision than the normal corner view. However, since it involves revealing part of your body, you put yourself at risk of being spotted by the enemy. Move the camera around while in corner view to survey different directions. Your field of vision will be a bit limited, but it's safer since it keeps you from exposing your body too much. You'll do well to get accustomed to it. If you have grenades equipped while in corner view mode, you can lob a grenade from cover by holding down the aim button to choose a target, then pressing the attack button to throw. This technique should come in handy during a firefight. Use it well. If you have a grenade or any type of throwable weapon equipped during the corner view, you can hold the aim button and press the attack button to throw it from behind cover. This technique lets you stay protected from enemy fire behind an obstruction and launch an attack when the time is right. This is a crucial technique for firefights. Use it well. When using a handgun, hold down the aim button to aim, then press the attack button to fire. If, after aiming, you wish to withdraw your aim without firing, release the aim button. The assault rifle works the same way as the handgun. Press and hold the aim button to aim, and press the attack button to fire. If you want to lower the weapon without firing, such as during a hold-up, just release the aim button. When the suppressor's durability wears away, it breaks beyond repair. The suppressor's present level of durability is displayed beneath your stamina gauge. Remove the suppressor from your gun if you want to make it last. If your currently equipped weapon can use a suppressor, touch the Attach Suppressor icon near the weapon icon on the touchscreen to attach or detach the suppressor. Regulate usage of the suppressor based on the situation.
Attach a suppressor, and you won't have to worry about all that. To attach a suppressor, touch the Attach Suppressor icon. But the suppressor will deteriorate each time the gun is fired. The durability of your suppressor is displayed beneath your stamina gauge whenever the suppressor is equipped. Be sure to keep an eye on it. A suppressor can be unequipped by tapping the Attach Suppressor icon next to the weapon icon on the touchscreen. It's a good idea to take the suppressor off a gun when you don't need it.
Use the camera buttons during overhead view to look in that direction. Press the left camera button to see what's nearby on screen left. Press the right button for screen right, up to see what's further ahead, and down to see what's nearby. For example, if you're heading north, you should press up to observe things in the direction of movement. Then, if you later spot an enemy patrol to the east, shift the camera to the right so you can hide while observing the threat. Use of this technique can be greatly advantageous to your mission. Make sure to get the most of it. Snake, in order to carry out the mission without being spotted, you must learn to detect an approaching enemy well ahead of time. Use the camera controls to constantly check your surroundings as you proceed. Snake, if you find an item box, use FPS mode to take a good look and find out what's inside. Sometimes it's dangerous to blindly go after an item. That's why you should check first to make sure the item in the item box is worth the trouble. While hanging, use the circle pad to move left and right. When you want to climb back up from your hanging position, press the action button once more. If you want to drop down, press the crouch button. Press the crouch button while hanging to drop straight down. You can knock an enemy instantly unconscious with this technique if you land on top of him. When you're in a tree, try aiming for an enemy passing beneath. You don't want to have to deal with an injury, so keep an eye on your grip gauge. Make sure you don't slip up and accidentally press the crouch button and let yourself go.
Visibility is poor in the jungle, so you'll be finding yourself in a lot of unexpected encounters. Naturally, this means that close-quarters combat will be more important than ever.
So I'll have plenty of chances to use CQC then.
That's right. In proximity encounters, firing a gun isn't necessarily the best response to every situation. It's only one option among many. Rather than taking the time to draw, aim, and fire a gun, engaging your opponent in hand-to-hand combat can sometimes be a faster and more reliable way of subduing him. Besides, in a sneaking mission like this one, it's too dangerous to go around firing your gun. You'll end up revealing yourself to the enemy.
Yeah, I know. You created CQC to deal with exactly this type of situation.
With your help, of course. In a battle situation, you'll only have a split second to decide how to attack. Use the aim button in combination with the attack button to attack using a weapon, and the attack button alone to attack using CQC. Press the attack button once to throw a punch. Pressing it multiple times in succession will allow you to deliver a combo attack. But striking your opponent is just one aspect of CQC. It doesn't really start to shine until you've got your enemy in a hold. press and hold down the attack button to grab your opponent with your right hand. From there, you can use the circle pad to knock your opponent off balance and throw him to the ground. This can be used to knock an opponent out in a single blow. If you don't press the circle pad, grapple with your enemy until you're behind them and can get your knife to their throat. Grabbing an enemy from behind and holding your knife against his throat will render him virtually powerless. From this point, there are several things you can do. By pressing the Cut Throat button, you can slit the enemy's throat with your knife. Move the circle pad and press the attack button to throw the enemy to the ground. Tap the attack button rapidly to choke the enemy. You can use this to knock him out or even kill him if you do it long enough. By continuing to hold down the attack button, you can move around while keeping your grip on the enemy. By pressing the Aim button, you can aim your currently equipped weapon at another enemy. To fire your weapon, release the attack button, then press it again. With their comrade acting as a human shield, the enemy will be reluctant to attack you. Press the Interrogate button to press your knife against the enemy and demand information. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn this way. But don't get too complacent. While your enemy may be powerless in your grip, he'll use any opportunity he can to counterattack.
Snake, let's go over the controls for CQC one more time. Press the attack button once to throw a punch. Press it repeatedly to launch a combo attack. CQC doesn't really start to shine, however, until you grab an enemy. Press and hold the attack button to extend your right hand and grab the enemy. Move the circle pad at the same time and you can knock the enemy to the ground. If you don't move the circle pad, you can get behind the enemy and hold him prisoner. When you're holding an enemy from behind, he'll be almost completely helpless. From there are a number of things you can do. By pressing the Cut Throat button, you can slit his throat using your knife. By moving the circle pad along with the attack button, you can knock him to the ground. You can also choke the enemy by tapping the Action button rapidly. You can either render him unconscious or kill him outright. It's up to you. If you keep the attack button pressed, you can use the circle pad to move around with the enemy in your grip. You can also press the Aim button to ready the weapon you've equipped. Then press the attack button to use it. The enemy will be hesitant to attack as long as you're using one of their comrades as a human shield. Use that moment of hesitation to take them out. By pressing the Interrogate button, you can interrogate the enemy. You might be surprised at the things you can learn. But stay alert. While the enemy is nearly helpless in your grasp, if you give him a chance, he'll turn the tables on you. To interrogate an enemy, grab him from behind using CQC and press the Interrogate button to put your knife to his throat. After you've grabbed an enemy from behind with CQC, you can interrogate him by pressing the Interrogate button. This is an opportunity to gain intelligence. Some of your enemies have valuable information, so give the technique a try and see what you can learn. If you get a chance, try interrogating a scientist. He might have some valuable information for you. Remove your disguise temporarily and use CQC to grab a scientist, then press the Interrogate button. While holding the Aim button to aim a weapon, you can switch your aiming view mode by touching the icon at the bottom right of the touchscreen. If you switch to FPS mode, you can direct your line of fire up, down, left or right.
When you aim your handgun in FPS mode, align the front sight and the rear sight of the gun with the target, then fire. Attack in FPS mode to hit enemies from afar. But be warned, if you don't take them out in one hit, your cover will be blown. When attacking from afar, it's crucial that you hit a vital spot dead on. For the assault rifle and various other weapons, you shoot by holding the Aim button to ready the gun, then press the Attack button to fire. If you're in a close quarters fight or other situation that requires immediate action, use auto-aim or TPS mode to attack. Observe where your shots are hitting and correct your aim accordingly.
I understand, but that doesn't sound too accurate.
Of course not. So when you require pinpoint targeting, like when firing from afar or sniping, use the FPS mode to aim. Carefully align your front and rear sights to concentrate fire and gain a sharper view on your target.
Snake, the damage that an enemy takes from your gun depends on where you hit him. If you hit an arm or leg, one shot won't be enough to finish him. If you want to take an enemy out in one shot, you have to get a solid shot to the head. With an equipped weapon in FPS mode or TPS mode, press and hold the Aim button to lock your line of fire while moving in any given direction. Use this for charges or retreats, or any other time that you want to concentrate fire in one direction while moving.
From here on, it's going to be difficult to see out of your right eye. Attacking in FPS mode will feel a little different from before. Be careful.
I see you've got the survival knife equipped. The survival knife is a necessity in the field. Hold the aim button and press the attack button to swing the knife. Press it repeatedly to perform a combo attack. The knife lets you kill an enemy silently, so you should find it useful when the situation calls for stealth. In addition to fighting the enemy, you can also use the knife to capture wild animals. That one knife can provide you with everything you need to survive in the field. Use it well. The weapon you're equipped with now is called the XM16E1. It's a new type of rifle currently being developed by the U.S. Army.
If it's still in development, then what's it doing here?
My guess is they captured it when it was being battle-tested in Southeast Asia. But the one you've got there is quite a bit different from the ones I've been hearing about. For one thing, it's camo-painted, and it even looks like you could attach a suppressor. All of these modifications are geared towards jungle combat. This doesn't look like the work of the Soviets. My guess is they were added on site by an American gunsmith during the Army field trials. On the touchscreen, tap the Attach Suppressor icon next to the weapon icon to attach or remove the suppressor. Make use of each of these functions as the situation warrants. When aiming a sniper rifle, you can use the icon in the bottom right corner of the touchscreen to change your aim mode. Using the rifle's scope in FPS mode will give you the most accuracy. Use the magnification slider in the bottom left corner of the touchscreen to adjust your scope's magnification. The more stable your stance, the less your hands will shake when you're aiming the rifle. Make sure you're lying down before attempting to make a long-distance shot. By taking out enemies from a distance with the sniper rifle, you can shift the odds in your favor. Use it well. Ah, you've got a directional microphone. The directional microphone is a high-performance listening device. When you equip it, the microphone will pick up sounds in whichever direction it's facing. By pointing the microphone into the forest, you can sometimes hear the footsteps of enemy soldiers lurking beyond the trees. In jungle combat, success depends on how well you can sense the enemy's presence. Use it wisely. So, you want to use a mousetrap? The mousetrap is designed to capture smaller animals. If you hold the aim button and press the attack button to place the mousetrap on the ground, you might be able to catch something with it. Use the survival viewer map to see where you've already placed the traps. However, don't forget that the mousetrap is designed to lure animals in, using some kind of bait in the middle. If you capture one animal by using it, don't expect to capture any more. Crawl to pick it up again, refill the bait, and put it back on the ground to catch more animals. The 45 can also be equipped with a suppressor. The suppressor will reduce the noise of the gunshot. If you find a suppressor, use the Attach Suppressor icon in the bottom right corner of the touchscreen to attach or detach it. But remember, the suppressor will deteriorate little by little each time you fire.
I see you're equipped with a Scorpion. The Scorpion is a new type of small submachine gun made in Czechoslovakia.
I've heard of it, but...
But you never used one, right? Well, they only started making it 3 years ago, after all. There are a bunch of different models of Scorpion. What kind of rounds does that one take?
32 ACP.
Then it's gotta be the VZ61. The Scorpion is different from a lot of other submachine guns in that it operates on a closed bolt system. So you get a high degree of precision even when firing in semi-auto mode. Another special feature on the Scorpion is the rate reducer, a mechanism that also functions as a shock absorber. What it does is lock the bolt in place for a split second when it's in the rearward position. That keeps the firing rate down to a reasonable level and also helps make the gun easier to control when firing in full auto mode. The Scorpion's firing rate is 750 rounds per minute. It ought to be a heck of a lot easier to control than the Mach 11, which has a rate of 1,200 rounds per minute. And it looks like that one's fitted with a laser sight, too. The Soviets probably developed this one on their own. With that laser sight on, accuracy should be no problem. Snake, you've got a...
I know. It's some new kind of rifle out of the West. Looks kind of like a black rifle.
No, it's not an AR-15. It's an XM16E1, a top-of-the-line rifle that the Army adopted recently on a trial basis. The U.S. military was working on a new concept for a light infantry weapon from the late 40s through the mid-50s. In the end, they decided they wanted a .22 caliber high muzzle velocity rifle with full auto capability. What they came up with was the AR-15, the so-called black rifle. The one you've got there, the XM16E1, is a modified AR-15 that's been fitted with a bolt forward assist. I heard they're doing performance evaluations down in Southeast Asia.
So they captured one in Vietnam and brought it here?
That's my guess. But that thing looks a lot different from a regular XM16E1. There must have been a gunsmith present at the field test who made all these modifications on the spot. The fact that it's painted in camouflage colors shows that more and more people these days are starting to realize the importance of camouflage.
They made it so it takes a suppressor, too.
Yep, that's a nice feature to have for a recon unit on a sneaking mission deep in enemy territory. You can attach and detach the suppressor by touching the Attach Suppressor icon in the lower right corner of the touchscreen. Have fun with that. Got yourself an RK-47, huh? The RK-47 is the official assault rifle of the Soviet Army. The first model was completed in 1946, and in '49, it beat out all its competitors to become the standard assault rifle of the Soviet military. It uses 7.62mm by 39 rounds, developed in 1943, and a 30-round box magazine originally designed for a different assault rifle. You can aim it from the shoulder by holding down the aim button and touching the FPS icon in the lower right corner of the touchscreen. It's sturdy and extremely reliable, with high power and precision. There's no better assault rifle in the world. You can get better accuracy with a sniper rifle by equipping it in FPS mode and looking through the scope. Once you're in position, use the magnification slider at the bottom left corner of the touchscreen to adjust the scope's magnification level. You can also use TPS mode to shoot from an over-the-shoulder view. It's not as precise, but it's great for spotting enemies. Oh, and firing from a standing position works, but your aim will be a heck of a lot steadier if you're crouching or lying down. Try it out. You're using an RPG-7, huh? The RPG-7 is a state-of-the-art, portable anti-tank weapon developed as the successor to the RPG-2. It first saw active deployment in 1962, year before last. You can fire it by using the aim button in TPS mode, but using FPS mode to look through the scope will give you a more accurate shot. Then just use the attack button to pull the trigger, and the propellant will shoot the grenade out of the launcher. Immediately after that, stabilizer fins will deploy from the back of the grenade. After it travels about 35 feet, the rocket fuel inside the grenade will ignite, accelerating the grenade towards its target. Even if it doesn't hit the target, the safety mechanism will kick in and cause it to self-destruct when it exceeds the target range or after a few seconds of flight. The warhead is made of the plastic explosive heat. It's capable of penetrating up to 13 inches of armor. That should be enough to shoot down a heavily armored attack chopper. Oh, one more thing. The rocket fires when the grenade first starts its descent, so don't try to fire it real close to the ground.
So you can't use it from a lying position.
Right. Don't forget that.
I won't.
To plant a C3 charge on a tank, equip the C3 and press the attack button when you're next to the tank. Make sure they're well placed. You know there's 4 tanks in there, right? You have to put C3 on all 4 of them. To plant a C3 charge on a tank, equip the C3 and press the attack button when you're next to the tank.
Just like TNT.
Looks like you've got some TNT. TNT is short for trinitrotoluene, a pale yellow crystalline compound made from a trinitrified mix of nitric acid and sulfuric acid. It's used throughout the world as a military explosive. It has a low sensitivity and is chemically stable, making it easy to handle. It's also got a low melting point and can easily be shaped by boiling or steaming it. But because the sensitivity is so low, you need a booster to actually get it to explode.
No problem. It came with its own remote control detonator.
Good. Then all you have to do is hold the aim button and press the attack button to place the TNT. After that, just press the attack button by itself to set it off. The map screen in the survival viewer will display the locations where you've planted TNT. Take warning though, the radio signal for the detonator is pretty weak. Don't forget that pressing the attack button will only set off TNT that's planted in the same area. Hey, you got a mousetrap. That mousetrap is a portable tool for capturing small animals alive. Hold the aim button then press the attack button to place it on the ground. Come back a little bit later and there might be a frog or a snake caught in there. Whether or not you actually catch anything, though, is all a matter of luck. Don't get all down if there's nothing in the trap. Try and try again. Also, don't forget that you need some bait in the trap or nothing's gonna come crawling in there. If you capture an animal with a trap, it won't have any bait left. Just crawl to pick it up, then put some more bait back in and set it down again. You can use the map in the survival viewer to see where you've placed traps. If you forget where you put a trap, just look at the map. Got some life medicine, huh? Life medicine
is a drug recently developed by the Soviet Union for use in battle.
The
The components are still a mystery, but it seems to activate the body's regenerative processes and make injuries heal faster.
Well, once you've
equipped it, tap the Use Item icon in the lower right corner of the touchscreen to instantly replenish your life. Useful, huh? Huh? What's wrong, Sigint?
Never mind. I see you have the bug juice equipped. It's useful for keeping the bugs away. After you equip it, you can touch the Use Item icon in the lower right corner of the touchscreen to keep the nasty critters like hornets and leeches at bay for a brief period of time. Use it well. A torch? A little primitive, but a light's a light. From what I can tell, that torch is made of white birch dipped in turpentine. It burns long, so I don't think you'll have a problem with it burning out on you. If you equip it, hold the aim button, then press the attack button. You can use it to smack the enemy. You can also swing it around by pressing that button repeatedly. Useful when you need to clear the room of bats and stuff. Tapping the Use icon next to the weapon icon on the touchscreen lets you light and extinguish the torch, so make sure that thing is out if an enemy is closing in. Get used to it. Ah, a handkerchief soaked with a knockout drug, you say. With that thing, I'll bet you could put the enemy to sleep just by grabbing them in CQC. You could also hold the aim button, then press the attack button to wave the hanky around and spread the knockout drug that way. But there's only enough drug for one use, so you'll have to go soak it if you want to use it again. You should be able to find some sort of anesthetic around there. So, you found yourself a cigarette-shaped narcosis gun. The cigarette-shaped narcosis gun is just what the name says. A sleeping gas gun shaped like a cigarette. It must be a test model that Granin's lab is working on for KGB spies. Equip it, hold the aim button to aim, then press the attack button to fire sleeping gas. It's got a short range, but any enemy that gets hit by the gas will be knocked out cold. Gonna use a grenade, huh? That's an RGD-5, the standard blast fragmentation grenade of the Soviet Army. The grenade itself is composed of two steel-plated casings. Each of those casings has an inner fragment liner that causes it to burst into over 300 shards when the grenade explodes. The grenade will deliver heavy damage to any enemies within its blast area. The safety pin is on the opposite side relative to the M26, so be sure to hold the safety lever down with your finger when you grip it. The safety is released when you actually throw the grenade, and it'll explode about 3 seconds later.
So what you're saying is, it won't explode in my hand while I'm holding it?
Of course not.
Oh.
To throw a grenade, hold the aim button, then press and release the attack button. Remember that how far you throw it depends on how long the button's pressed. A short tap will drop it close to you, and a long press will lob it away. It'll probably be easier to control your throw if you do it in FPS mode. Active sonar sends out a special type of sound wave whenever you press the Use Item icon on the touchscreen. It uses the echo from those waves to calculate and display the position of nearby objects. Unlike the motion detector, it'll show you objects that aren't moving. But because you're blasting out sound waves, there's a risk that the noise will alert enemies and animals to your presence. Be careful about when and where you use it.
The enemy will be coming at you from all sides, front and back, left and right. Take them out quickly before they attack. Listen closely to what Eva tells you.
Snake, leave the driving to Eva. You concentrate on fending off your pursuers and clearing the way for her.
Don't worry about running out of ammunition. The sidecar seems to be loaded with plenty of it. Just focus on eliminating your attackers.
Snake! Leave the driving to Eva and focus on attacking. Pick off any enemies that get in your way. Snake, don't let the enemy catch up to you. Open fire and take them out.
Waving your torch around with the attack button should also work. Just don't forget to hold the aim button first. Alternatively, you could try equipping a torch and waving it around by holding the aim button, then pressing the attack button. Holding the aim button, then swinging a torch around using the attack button should also work.
Snake, when you knock down a hornet's nest, a large swarm of hornets will come flying out. If used wisely, this can sow panic among the enemy, but if you're not careful, the hornets may end up attacking you.
If you're attacked by hornets, wiggle the circle pad around and wave your survival knife to shoo them away.
Snake, if the pain's hornets stick to you, you won't be able to move freely. If hornets start to stick to you, take care of them before they prevent you from moving altogether. Either jump into the water or wave your survival knife around to drive them away. If you become unable to move, wiggle the circle pad and press the buttons rapidly to shake them off before you get shot. Understood? The fear is using something called stealth camouflage to conceal himself. But you should be able to spot him if you look closely in FPS mode. Watch for rustling grass, falling leaves, anything that will betray his presence. Find him quickly and shoot him. You can knock down the fear's bolts with your gun or knife. If you can't dodge a bolt, shoot it down.
If you're hit with a poison bolt, the poison will enter your bloodstream. Unless you neutralize it with serum, your life will just keep diminishing. Your body will go into spasms, and you won't be able to move silently, even in stalking mode.
Watch out for Volgin's electric shock attacks. If he shocks you when you've got a gun equipped, the ammo in the magazine's gonna ignite and the gun will explode. Either fight without a gun equipped, or quickly unequip your weapon when you're about to get zapped.
In a proximity encounter, the boss will obviously try to use CQC on you. By pressing the attack button at the very moment the boss launches a CQC strike, you can parry the attack. If you're successful, you can maneuver around to her side. That's your chance to use CQC on her. But if you fail, not only will she throw you, but she'll disassemble your weapon as well. Watch the boss's movements carefully. Timing is everything. Take cover behind something and wait for an opening, then attack. I think what Ocelot really wants is a showdown with you. As long as you keep your gun holstered, he'll probably do the same. This will be a quick draw contest. You'd better have sharp reflexes. Watch Ocelot closely. When you see an opening, quickly draw your gun and shoot him. Each time you use the ammunition in a magazine, you'll need to load the next one. You'll be vulnerable while changing magazines, so always be aware of your remaining bullets. Remaining bullets are displayed beneath your camo index. You may want to carry out a tactical reload before the magazine is fully used. Do this by pressing the action button while your weapon is not being aimed.
The actual procedure involves unequipping your gun and then equipping it once again. That will load the gun with the new magazine. I recommend tapping the weapon icon on the touchscreen to carry out a quick reload.
Stand next to a gun emplacement and press the action button to operate it. Press the attack button to fire. You can use the aim button to zoom in on a target. Be aware, though, that the gun's ammo supply is limited. To move away from a gun emplacement, press the action button once again. You can operate an anti-aircraft gun emplacement by standing next to it and pressing the action button. Use the attack button to control the trigger. You can also zoom in on a target by pressing the aim button. The anti-aircraft cannon should be more than a match even for that attack chopper. But remember, its ammo supply is limited. Obviously, you can't move around as long as you're sitting in the seat. If the enemy gets too close for comfort, press the action button and get out of the seat immediately. Is that clear?
If you manage to get close to a gun emplacement, you can take it over by pressing the action button. The attack button controls the trigger. Beware though, the ammo supply is limited. To move away from a gun emplacement, just press the action button again. Use it when you need the upper hand. You can take over an anti-aircraft gun the same way you take over a gun emplacement. Stand next to it and press the action button. Use the attack button to fire. Press the aim button to focus in on a target. Just remember that they've got limited ammo. Also, don't forget, you can't move around while you're using an emplacement. If the enemy's getting too close for comfort, press the action button to ditch it pronto.
Press the crouch button when you're swimming on the surface to dive underwater.
The controls when you're underwater are quite different from when you're on land.
You'll move in the direction that the camera is facing, so point the camera in the direction you want to swim. To move forward, use the circle pad. The longer you hold it, the faster you'll swim.
You can also rapidly press the action button to surface in an emergency.
To dive underwater, press the crouch button while you're swimming on the surface. To move forward underwater, use the circle pad. You'll move in whatever direction the camera is facing. In a pinch, you can press the action button to quickly rise to the surface. Also, handguns and rifles can be fired underwater. You can use these to attack targets above the surface as well.
In the Virtuous mission, you had your tranquilizer gun to use. But this time around, you're unarmed. You won't be able to take out the enemies safely from a distance. You'll have to find some way of reeling them in close. Try distracting the enemy by making a noise or throwing something.
I think letting the guards see you throw up is a good idea. You can eat something poisonous to give yourself food poisoning. That'll make you throw up after a while. Or you can use the survival viewer to make yourself dizzy. While in the survival viewer, touch the view icon in the upper right corner of the touchscreen to enter viewer mode. Then use the circle pad to spin your body around. Do that long enough and you'll start to get dizzy. When you're dizzy enough, you'll throw up the moment you exit the survival viewer. Try it out.
The camo index located in the top right corner of the touchscreen tells you if your outfit is getting the job done. The higher the value of this index, the harder it is for the enemy to spot you. Try your best to keep the camo index as high as possible. When you're using the assault rifle, press the aim button to ready it, then press the attack button to fire. To drop nearby enemies with some speed, auto-aim or TPS mode will do the trick. But it's difficult to aim straight. If you need to take more accurate shots, like tagging enemies in vital spots from a distance, tap the FPS icon on the touchscreen while holding the aim button. This puts you in first-person mode so that you can take precise aim. You can take precise aim with the front and rear sights. When you're focusing on your mark, it will be as accurate as if you were zooming in.
The binoculars and first-person view will prove useful in detecting the enemy's presence. You should also be making use of your active sonar. You might also try using the directional microphone. Snake, now that you've lost even your CQC knife, you won't be able to use CQC. You won't be able to grab or throw enemies either. You can still throw punches by pressing the attack button and launch combos by pressing it several times in a row. That'll have to do for now.
Snake, be careful when you approach the liquid fuel tanks. Apparently, even the smallest disturbance will cause them to explode. Don't use heavy firearms near the tanks.
That looks like a hollow tree. If you hide in there, the enemy might just pass you by without noticing. When Eva is hiding in the hollow tree, you can get her to come out by pressing yourself against the tree and pushing the attack button to knock.
Digestive medicine and antidotes aren't the only ways to cure stomach aches and food poisoning. You can also induce vomiting. Go into the survival viewer and press the view icon at the top right of the touchscreen to enter viewer mode. Then rotate the circle pad to spin your body around, and eventually you'll start feeling queasy. When you get dizzy enough, exit the survival viewer and you'll throw up. That should get rid of any stomach ache and food poisoning you have. Give it a try.
Select Map in the survival viewer to view a map of the area you're currently in. It shows your present location and the places you've been to. In addition, if you acquire information from enemies, the map may also display enemy unit positions and the location of items. To get information from an enemy, grab him from behind using CQC and press the Interrogate button. To succeed in any mission, knowing how to put information about the zone of operation to effective use will be essential. Map will serve you well.
Touch the Use Item icon on the bottom right of the touchscreen to initiate the active sonar and emit a special sonic wave. The reflected sound from the sonic wave reveals the positions of targeted objects. In contrast to the motion detector, the active sonar reveals still objects as well. However, there is a risk that the sound of the sonic wave will reveal your position to enemies and animals, so be careful when using the active sonar. Stand near a fallen enemy and press the action button to grab the body. Now you can use the circle pad to drag the body. To put the body down, press the action button once more. Snake, whenever the radio screen is opened, a memory window will be displayed on the touch screen. In the memory window, select a person to contact and press the Enter button. This saves you the time of adjusting the frequency. Press the attack button when you're up against a wall to knock on a wall and make a sound. Creating sounds can attract the attention of enemies. There are many ways to use sound to your advantage. Use it to lure an enemy in the wrong direction. Then use that opportunity to slip by. Or Lure an enemy near you, then ambush the enemy from behind. Use it to your utmost advantage. The distance that you throw grenades and other throwable weapons is determined by how long you press the attack button after aiming with the aim button. A short tap of the attack button will toss the weapon nearby, while a long press of the button will hurl it farther. Adjust the length of the button press as appropriate. You can use throwable weapons in any view mode, but in FPS mode you can throw more accurately at specific targets. Use it as necessary. Tap the attack button during a run to commence a roll. For a brief interval, you'll perform a jump which can be used to knock down enemies. You can also use rolling to jump waist-high objects. However, remember that rolling consumes more stamina than standard running.